Rouse's is proud of the creativity and the unparalleled entertainment in New Orleans, and honored to highlight it with their sponsorship of Steppin Out on WYES.
Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a lifetime of passion for public television, we're pleased to help underwrite Steppin Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES TV.
Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hi, Poppy.
Hey, Peg.
Hello, and Alan Smason, editor of Crescent City Jewish News and TheaterCriticism.com. Hello, Mr. Alan.
Hey,
Hi
Merry
there.
Christmas.
Hi, you too. Or Happy Hanukkah, I should say also. We are focusing on some local nostalgic holiday moments as well as the present. And we begin with Poppy and restaurant news.
Oh, well, there's nothing nostalgic about this. It's all new. And you know, Peg, I just have to make a little commentary that people who love ramen and maybe learned to love ramen at Kin, well, maybe they ought to think twice before just happening into any local sushi bar for ramen, because ramen has gotten so popular that it seems like it's the way a lot of sushi bars are, I don't know, generating new interest or something. Well, that is not the case at all when ramen is in the name, like at Union Ramen. This is the real thing, okay? So it's delicious, it's authentic, their stocks are truly remarkable, and there's so much other fun stuff to enjoy. Like, look at those pimento beggar purses. They're beautiful. And then something else at Union Ramen that's so unusual is their spam musabi. You know, that's a very popular thing in Hawaii. You don't see it much around and about. But Union Ramen, the real thing if you're looking for ramen. And then there seems to be a great proliferation in Thai restaurants. Well, my favorite Thai restaurant is, they're my friends, Sisruk and Frankie Weinberg of Pomelo. Pomelo is a beautiful, tiny little spot that just opened recently on Magazine Street. And I have a dear friend who is Thai, and she loves her mother's Thai home cooking. And it was because of Kayla that we went and dined at Pomelo, because she said this is the only Thai food she's eating out. It's just like her mom's food. It's fresh, clean. The flavors are brilliant. It's not too spicy. Oh my goodness, that glass noodle salad with all that wonderful seafood in it was simply fabulous. I think maybe one of my favorite dishes was the chicken massaman with little hints of cinnamon and star anise and cardamom. Really beautiful. And then there's green curry. There's a veggie version with tofu. Now, that little dessert, Frankie, the husband, this is just this sweet little team, wife and husband. Frankie actually makes the desserts. That is like a fabulous short cookie, like maybe a cocoon, but it's got Thai tea inside. The menu is just wonderful. They're open for lunch and dinner. If you love Thai food, go to Pomelo. You'll be very pleasantly surprised.
Thank you so much. You know, it is is amazing how many restaurants are now on Magazine Street. It used to be a food desert, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Shush, thank you, Poppy. Over to Alan.
Well, you know, this next week, the Best Musical of 2019 actually held the title longer than any other musical due to the postponement of the Tony Awards because of the pandemic, is coming to town. That, of course, is Hadestown, the show that is perfectly cast here in New Orleans because the music is so evocative of traditional New Orleans jazz. Anais Mitchell wrote and workshopped this project from her native Vermont and had it open first off-Broadway before sending it across the pond to the West End. And it failed to win any Olivier Awards here, but it garnered enough positive press when it opened on Broadway with Andre DeShields and Patrick Page and Avanola Lozada and Reeve Carney that the musical won a whole slew of Tony Awards. The musical is an updated retelling of the Greek tragedies taken from mythology of Orpheus and Eurydice and Hades and Persephone. And the references to our own present-day politics are unmistakable in pieces like Why Do We Build the Wall, which emphasizes the divide between rich and poor, and Living in the Dead. Hadestown has some of the most beautiful and provocative music that you've ever heard on a Broadway stage. It is a must-see for everyone because it is so different from anything else you'll ever see on a Broadway stage. Hadestown opens December the 28th and runs through New Year's till January the 2nd. Do not miss this production. Meanwhile, the Rivertown Theaters for the Performing Arts, they're going to be having their production of Cabaret to be directed by Bryce Slocum. It'll finally get its say in January. You may remember it was slated for the fall, but was moved to January after Hurricane Ida forced Hello Dolly to run in its place in October and Elf to run before Christmas. I can't wait to see what Bryce does with this dark but delightful Kander and Ebb musical. And also, mark your calendars. That's the night of January the 14th for Tank and the Bangas. They're going to join the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra on stage live. They did so virtually. Last year it was streamed, if you remember. So we're looking forward to seeing more about all of that with what's going on with the LPO and Tank and the Bangas.
You know, Al, they were just on Austin City Limits, so they were actually shown nationally.
They are a national group now, like the Neville Brothers. They are, you know, the ones at the present moment who are really garnering a lot of press and interest.
Really exciting, too. And they've worked hard, so good. All righty, for over 20 years, from the mid-40s to the mid-60s, there was a home decorated for Christmas in Mid-City that attracted Orleanians citywide. Here's an excerpt from our documentary, Christmas in New Orleans. Among the interviewees, New Orleans artist George Schmidt.
From the early 1950s until the mid-60s, at Christmas time, the Salvador Centanni family on Canal Street in the Mid-City neighborhood attracted quite a crowd.
The Centanni House was that was like a journey to go see that. It was on our nights that we'd go visiting houses, and then we'd make our way to Canal Street, and that was like a circus atmosphere around there. I mean, there was just droves of people. You'd have to park blocks away. Some people just wanted to drive by, some got out, as we would, and walk all around and see it. And I think there may have been some vendors selling things around, but it was just a real carnival-like atmosphere.
I mean, nobody could beat it. It stopped traffic. They had to have the police there to maintain order. And I remember there was a cotton candy man out on the street.
Mrs. Myra Collins Centanni and her husband Sal lavishly decorated their home.
You had the creche, you had Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You had the three wise men and the shepherds, and you had attendant other things, little animals, and you had you know, the sheep and the cow and all that kind of stuff. Plus you had Mickey Mouse and Pluto, and you know, it's sort of like Disneyland had come to worship at the foot of the Prince of Peace, right? So, and that went on for years.
This holiday tradition began with a chance encounter.
My mother would always put like a wreath on a door, or you know, a few colored lights around the porch. One day she was outside just enjoying her garden, and a gentleman stopped, and he wanted to sell her an idea of a Christmas decoration for the yard. And he explained it to her, and she said, sure, bring it over, I'll, you know, purchase it from you. And then she added the Christmas sled and the nativity scene. But every year, my mother would always want to add more to her lawn decorations.
Mrs. Centanni decided to have a theme for each year's presentation.
It was like a big elephant, as I recall. That was like my favorite, even though I don't know what that had to do with Christmas, but as a child, it's a big animal, so you're fascinated by it.
She'd go to stores around Christmas time and find children's books. And she found one year that said Santa's Circus is coming to town, and it showed Santa coming in on an elephant. She'd call up the lady she had making stuff for her, and they made a big elephant. I mean, it was life-size elephant, and put that on along with Santa Claus sitting in it.
The decorations even reflected current events.
It was around the time of the space program. She found a book and it said, Santa's going to outer space. And they did a theme with a rocket ship with Santa Claus standing by it. And that's how she got her idea, just from children's books. And she tried to make it just for children to enjoy. That was her thing. You know.
And a must for any Christmas display is a nativity scene.
They bought mannequins, like old mannequins from like maybe D.H. Holmes, and my aunt was a sewer, and she would take old carnival costumes. My dad was involved in Mardi Gras, like Duke's costumes with the capes, and made the kings, the wise men. That was all part of my mom's deal. My mom and my aunt's deal was that nativity scene, the giant nativity scene.
With all the effort of putting up such an elaborate display, the payoff was ultimately the reaction of those who came to view it.
My dad would walk to the front door and he'd peep through the curtain and he'd look and he'd turn around and he'd say, "Hey, Mom, we got a good crowd tonight," and stuff like that, And I'll never forget, they had a cotton candy vendor that ended up on the corner one night. And my mother was upset at first. She said, "This is kind of commercial looking." And my dad said, "Oh, Mara, somebody's got to make a living, These people out here working." And it ended up our grandchildren were the biggest customers, running out there to buy.
The Centanni House had, of course, lights. It was festooned with lights and all, but much more than that. It had these little elves and these mechanical things going, elves sawing and seesawing and making, hammering toys, and a little workshop, and the Santa and a sleigh in the middle of the lawn. With the decorations, it was just like this sea of light and color. And these, as I say, these kind of mannequins that were automated, and they were doing all these things, and it was just like magic. It almost made you think of Mardi Gras in the sense that everybody's coming together for this festive thing.
And thanks to the current owners, this is the Centanni House, Canal and South Murat Streets. They are actually members of the Centanni family, and the home has been lavishly decorated this year and includes a nod, as you saw, to Mr. Bingle, that lovable snowman so popular as a symbol of Maison Blanche and now Dillard's department stores. It looks beautiful, but that is these days, this year, so go and check it out. It's so much work. By the way, a special thanks to Larry Rousserie, who was very much a part of the documentary Christmas in New Orleans, editor and, of course, director and colleague. And can you imagine all that? Isn't that so much fun? And it was primarily, we're talking about the timing, the 50s, into the 60s, and a little boy named Al Copeland saw this and was inspired, of course, to do his decorations for so many years. But it was all starting in Mid-City, and of course they had the gold seal, the beautiful gold seal. Creamery right in Mid-City as well. And just a few quick programming notes. My Life in Music, the Irma Thomas documentary, runs Sunday at 2 p.m. and Creole Christmas is Sunday at 10 a.m. at WYES and WYES.org. But also Christmas in New Orleans will be running again as well. So you can check on that for WYES. But we're just so glad that show has continued on. It's from 2006, and check out all of that at WYES.org. And if you are looking for some last-minute shopping suggestions and local books, I have some. Tulane geographer Richard Campanella and photographer Marco Rossi offer many rare views from above the New Orleans skyline. Look at this. This is via drone photography photos along with Campanello's always enlightening content. And after many years in the making, architect and historian Robert Cangelosi has completed his comprehensive study of the Carrollton neighborhood. That is another gorgeous book. It includes many photos from Neil Alexander, and it's part of the very important Friends of the Cabildo series. Brian Altobello, who has chronicled World War II in previous books, focuses on New Orleans right before World War I. Storyville, politics, the beginning of Prohibition, all add up to a fascinating period in New Orleans history. Here you go. And Altobello presents it in a very accessible way. So much fun to read, so interesting. Dr. Stephen Hales, longtime archivist for the Crew of Rex, also known as the School of Design, chronicles the 150 years of the organization in a lavish and detailed tribute to one of the city's oldest Mardi Gras crews. It's the 150th anniversary. A beautiful book published by Arthur Hardy Enterprises. It's available at Garden District. New Orleans writer Sue Strachan tells us everything we wanted to know about the potent coffee libation known as Café Brûlot, a history complete with recipes, a great stocking stuffer. And finally, Chris Champagne came out last year with another great stocking stuffer, Secret New Orleans, chock full of facts I bet you probably don't know. He also has a new book out about the NFL, so congratulations to Chris. And now, though, we are going to Poppy.
Well, speaking of that last-minute Christmas shopping that you may need to do, and of course lots of us head out to Lakeside, I've got some really big news for Lakeside shoppers. I don't know what took them so long, but where Godiva chocolate used to be just opened Vine and Tap. So we're talking about across from the Apple store. It's wines by the glass, frozen cocktails, beer, seltzers. There's some bottles for retail. It's really quite something. And of course, they're encouraging you to grab these drinks and go shopping, from Bloody Marys, frozen eggnog, frosé. It's all there, and I just can't imagine how happy this is going to make. So it seems like a no-brainer, Peg. We always had a bar at Schwegmann's. Why is it taking this long to get one? But it's not in the food court.
Poppy, you said frosé. That's the magic word.
And imagine you could have a little cocktail while the kids go round and round on the train or go see Santa Claus. I mean, this is the dream come true for many New Orleanians. And there's no reason for the party to end, because you can take all of that wine drinking fun right over to Tavola, which is, of course, just outside of the shopping center itself in the parking lot. That's where the party continues. Happy hour from 2 to 6 every day. $6 wine and cocktails, $3 beer, half off pizza, and the things that you can enjoy, everything from lobster ravioli to lasagna, and and of course they've got a wood-burning oven, so the pizza's there too. But don't miss all of that eating and drinking fun, Italian style, to be had now at Vine and Tap and Tavola.
Thank you so much. Back over to Alan.
Well, last week I reported on being on Broadway and seeing 8 shows in 6 days.
Poor baby.
And even seeing Dear Evan Hansen reopening. And that was only 12 days ago when officials noted that every Broadway show that had closed had now reopened. It had given everybody a warm and fuzzy feeling. Broadway was back. And then the reinfections, the breakthrough infections started coming in. And the shows that I had seen, like Tina, the musical, they were announcing cancellations of performances. And then Jagged Little Pill, the Alanis Morissette musical with the phenomenal Lauren Patton you see there, they are the Tony Award winner for Best Featured Actress, of course, that she got. Well, they not only canceled performances, they did the unthinkable. They posted a closing notice on Tuesday. It will not reopen. And even the recently opened Gender Bender Company with Katrina Lenk in the role of Bobby, they were forced to cancel several performances at a time when so many people are clamoring to see this newly opened show. Disney even announced that Aladdin would cease shows until Christmas. And then, of course, came some of the worst news. Broadway's been shuttered for, as you know, 20 months. People have been saving to see shows like Hamilton, and finding the dates they were looking forward to seeing are gone. Hamilton is closed through Christmas. So we're always talking about $2 million a week in gross for both of those shows each. The final nail in the coffin, though, Peggy, was the Radio City Music Hall. The Rockettes announced that they were closing all performances for the rest of the year due to the breakthrough performance, the infections. 75% of their profit is raised during the period between Thanksgiving and New Year's. They still had 2 weeks to go on that run, so that's unfortunate. Now, Peggy, Seth Rudetsky's taking time off for Christmas or Hanukkah, whichever. I don't know why he is Jewish. But nevertheless, we have to wait until January the 2nd. But Jessica Vosk, who had a bad cold, was replaced very shortly by Andy Carl and his wife, Orpha. They stepped into the show as her replacement. She'll finally be on January the 7th at 7 p.m. Vosk, of course, is a former Elphaba from Wicked. And she's a wonderful vocalist. We've seen her before on that show, and she should be great.
All right, thank you so much, Alan. Benny Grunch and the Bunch have long been a part of the New Orleans Christmas scene. Here's a music video of them performing K&B Stayed Open Christmas.
KB was open Christmas, KB was open Christmas, KB was open Christmas, and all day on New Year's. KB was open Christmas, KB was open Christmas, KB was open Christmas, and all day on New Year's. Medicines of all description for any condition. Pick up Mama's prescription, and we're not done. Get your sweeties Funny Valentine and Mogan David grape wine. That'll get her every time. Ice cream, I'll one. Cherry, vanilla, peach, chocolate, marshmallow. King Creole cream and vanilla praline. Butter, pecan, berry, Napoleon. Fudge, ripple, rocky road. Oh, it's all gone. Aftershave for Pop's chin chin. Fizzy stuff to soak his teeth in. Don't forget his K&B gin and a large tube of Gleam. Face creams for the whole night. Roll-ons to make you smell right. Pantyhose to hold the skin tight. Look, magazines. TV Guide, Home and Gardens with modern romance. Foreign cars, field and stream. Learn how to dance. Crosswords and comics. Tweety Pie and Sylvester. Study electronics, there's a TV tube tester. Nectar soda for a nickel. King Burger with a pickle that made your tongue tickle. Let's go upstairs. Downtown, the Canal Store sold cameras on the 3rd floor. Penny scaled by the front door. Got my harmonica with me. Register at checkout. Your receipt had purple printout. Purple matches for your cookout. Can't miss employees. Purple socks, purple laces. Mardi Gras Day, purple faces. Purplest of all places was OK&B. KB was open Christmas. KB.
And special thanks to Dominic Massa, who produced this at Channel 4, and it was the Channel 4 last year, and we appreciate Channel 4 letting us use it, and Dom is now with us as our COO. We're thrilled. Benny is performing this Christmas Day, starting at 4 p.m. at Mid-City Lane's Rockin' Bowl. That's a real tradition for Benny Grunch and the Bunch, so we're thrilled about that. And now it's time for picks. Poppy.
Well, wonderful opportunity to dine at Emeril's. They're doing a holiday grand tasting menu. This is 10 courses for $250. It's going on through December 31st. So there's an extra special treat for you.
Alan.
Well, I just want to remind everybody that this Christmas season, on the day after Christmas, you can get a free virtual viewing of the Israel Philharmonic as they celebrate their 85th anniversary. And along with the live concert, you're going to be able to see archival footage featuring Leonard Bernstein and Leopold Stokowski. It's all free. Just register at the site that you see there, and you can see all of that. And I'll see you all at the theater.
Thank you so much, Alan. And now my picks, don't forget, Christmas Fest. That's NOLA Christmas Fest. It's at the Morial Convention Center between the 25th and the 30th. Decorations, an ice skating rink. It's very, very full of family attractions, and you paid one price, so that's a good deal. Go to NOLAChristmasFest.com. We want to thank our friend Maria Cachetta because we have some delicious cookies. We've got some pictures of, look at these cookies. They're so pretty. Beautiful cookies. Yes, Joan Farrell Mathis made them, delightful sugar cookies. Also, there is what they call champagnes. We've got champagnes, and those are oyster patty shells filled with green and red icing. So very local. That's from Swiss Bakery. And one last item, wishing you all the best during this holiday season with a photo of me and Santa. That was taking place at, of course, at Maison Blanche Department Store on Canal Street. And yes, Canal Street at Christmas time is mentioned in our documentary, Christmas in New Orleans. And that, as you say, it is available at WYES.org with more information. Thank you all so very much for watching, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Good night.
Steppin' Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a lifetime of passion for public television, we're pleased to help underwrite Steppin' Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES TV.
Rouse's is proud of the creativity and the unparalleled entertainment in New Orleans, and honored to highlight it with their sponsorship of Steppin' Out on WYES.